Fighter 26 finale. I'm sorry this video is a little late, but this card took fucking forever to finalize, and the reason why is, if you've been watching this show from the beginning for this season, the final two chicks, Sajara, the chick that kept on having a hard time making weight during the show, failed to make weight for the finale, is now not gonna be fighting for the title. It's gonna be Roxanne Modafferi. So they only finalized this card like an hour or two ago, so I'm gonna do this one, and I'm gonna do the pay-per-view one because they're both this weekend. If people didn't know, there's a card on Friday and there's one on Saturday. So let's get started. The first fight is Gillian Robertson versus Emily Whitmore, and both these chicks were on the Ultimate Fighter. Gillian, I didn't see anything special from her. She got her ass kicked kind of easily. Emily looked pretty good, and then she got beat by Roxanne Modafferi, so I'm going to go with Emily just because I felt like I saw more from her on the show. They both look like grapplers, but Emily just looks better, so I'm going to pick Emily. I say she wins by decision or a finish in the third. Next is Ariel Beck versus Shauna Dodson, and same thing. Shauna and Ariel neither one of them looked amazing. They were both kind of got their asses handed to them on the show, so it's really difficult to pick. I didn't get to see much from either of them, but I'm going to go with Ariel just because I felt like I saw a tiny bit more from her when she fought on the show. Next is I can't hardly say these chicks' names, is Rachel versus Karen. And Karen missed weight by a lot. She weighed in like 130, and she's not a late replacement, so I don't understand how she missed weight by like 5 fucking pounds. It's a little crazy. I feel like Rachel's going to win this fight either way because she's just a better fighter, but, when somebody misses weight by that much, you never know how much bigger she is than the other one, so that's a little hard to tell, but I'm still going to go with Rachel. I say she either wins by decision or submission. Next is Andrew Sanchez versus Ryan James, and these guys have very similar styles. They're both pretty boxing heavy, they throw some kicks here and there, and they're both primarily jiu-jitsu guys. They have decent takedowns, but they're not great wrestlers. I just feel like Andrew Sanchez is better overall. I think that he has more finishes, and I think that he's the more powerful guy. I think he's just technically a little bit better everywhere, and I think that he's either going to win a decision or get a late finish in like the third. So I got Andrew Sanchez winning by, like I said, decision or finish. Next is Christina Marks versus Montana Rosa, and to me, Rosa looks much better. Both these chicks, I'm pretty sure both these chicks were on the Ultimate Fighter. I know Montana Rosa was, and she looked really good. I felt like both of her performances were pretty good, even though she lost in her second fight. I feel like she's got really great grappling, and I think Rosa is going to get this fight to the ground and probably win by submission. Next is Brett Johns versus Joe Soto, and to me, Brett Johns, the only thing I've seen from that guy is a really strong wrestling game. I feel like his striking is just okay, and his submission offense is also just okay. I feel like Joe Soto overall is the much better striker. I mean, he's very good technically. He doesn't have a ton of power, but he can throw high volume and throw down with anybody. His only big weakness is his chin. Like, I feel like wrestling and jiu-jitsu wise, Joe Soto's also up there with anybody in this weight class. The only weakness I've ever seen from Joe Soto is that he gets knocked out sometimes. And, if Brett Johns was a better striker, I'd be worried about that, but he's not. I feel like Joe Soto's a much better striker, and I feel like Joe Soto's also the much better grappler overall. I think that, Brett Johns, if he tries to do that shit where he just takes him down, I think Joe Soto's jiu-jitsu and overall wrestling game is just too good for that. So I think sooner or later, Joe Soto is going to end up in a dominant position and just win by either TKO from strikes from the top or win by like an arm triangle or rear naked choke. So I got Joe Soto. Next is Dina Bennett versus Melinda Fabian. And both these chicks were on the Ultimate Fighter. Melinda did not look very good, and Deanna looked really good. She has really strong wrestling. She got finished by Shajara. I feel like, Deanna, she was ranked number 4 for a reason. She's really solid, and I think she's going to get this fight to the ground. She's probably going by submission with like a rear naked choke or something. So I got Deanna by first round submission. Next is Gerald Muscat versus Eric Spicely, and Eric Spicely had a really shitty weigh-in. He looked like he was dying on the scale. I was going to pick Gerald Muscat going into this fight because I think that grappling-wise, Eric Spicely is better, but I think Gerald could keep up with him on the ground, but I feel like Gerald's the significantly better striker going into this fight. And I think with that bad weight cut, that just makes it even more, makes me lean even more towards Gerald. I think Gerald's going to be able to keep this fight on the feet because he's the better wrestler, and I think he's the much better striker, and I think sooner or later he's going to catch Eric and win by knockout. Gerald's going to win by knockout. Next is Barb Hancock versus Lauren Murphy. And, Lauren Murphy to me has not been that impressive. I feel like Her striking has just been okay, and her takedown defense and overall grappling has just been okay. I feel like Barb, really impressed me on the show. That one fight with Nico Montana was really close. I felt like Nico was winning the rounds, but she kept it competitive all the way up until the end. And I feel like in this fight, Lauren Murphy, like I said, her takedown defense is nothing special, and I think Barb's wrestling is going to be able to take over. I think this is going to be like the Nico fight, but leaning towards Barb. I think every round is going to be kind of back and forth, but I think Barb is going to edge all three of them, and I think Barb's going to win a 30-27 decision with her wrestling. Next is the co-main event. We got Shane O'Malley versus Tyron Ware. And to me, Shane O'Malley, I know that people are super hyped on him because of the Dana White looking for a fight because he got that big knockout. But to me, he looked like a really wild striker who started to get tired and then just kind of landed a big punch. I feel like Tyron Ware really impressed me in his debut. He fought that really good wrestler guy, Cody Stamann, and I felt like whenever they were striking, it was basically dead even. The problem was he just gave us some takedowns, but he got up pretty quick. So to me, it shows he's got a good takedown defense because he stuffed a couple. He's good at getting back to his feet, and he's a really good striker. And I feel like he fought 3 really hard rounds in one of the most underrated fights of the year. I felt like that was a really solid fight. That I can't remember what one fight of the night on that card, but that was probably the second best fight on that card. So to me, Tyron Ware, a lot of people don't know who he is because he's only got one fight in the UFC, but he's a really good striker with really good takedown defense. Like I said, he's hard to keep down. I feel like Shane O'Malley, he was starting to gas in that fight in the Dana White looking for a fight, and he's just really wild. I think Tyron is much more tight, and he's never been finished. Neither guys have ever been finished. Shane O'Malley's undefeated, but I'm gonna go with Tyron. I think he's gonna be able to keep a pace, and once Shane starts to get tired, Tyron's gonna take over and eventually get a finish, either late second, early third. Finally, we've got Roxanne Modafferi versus Nico Montana, and to me, this depends entirely on if Roxy can take Nico down and get on top, because I feel like Nico's got good takedown defense, but her overall grappling game is probably just not the same level as Roxanne. I think striking-wise, Nico's a little bit better, and conditioning-wise, Nico's also probably a little bit better. So this fight is really tough just because I feel like Roxanne just has a huge advantage on the ground, and I don't think that Nico has that same advantage anywhere else in the fight. So, I mean, even though Nico probably, I don't know, it's really tough, but I just feel like this fight's going to get to the ground sooner or later, and when it does, Roxanne's going to just, get in the mount or something and just finish Nico. So I'm going to go with Roxanne. I say she wins by finish either in the first or second round once she gets a mount and just finishes her with ground and pound or submission. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe. And I'm also going to put up the video for the next fight really soon.